Hello everyone, welcome again. And in this video, we're going to talk about JSON files. And JSON stands for, JSON stands for Object, JavaScript Object Notation. Okay, it's a data format that is commonly used to exchange structured information between the client and the server. Okay, so it is generally used by APIs and config files. And again, what is it used for? It is used for, it's a text format or a data format for storing and transporting data, or to exchange information, or specifically a structured information between the client and the servers. It is commonly used for API and config files. So when we represent data using JSON file, well, JSON is very lightweight again, and when we represent data using JSON files, we represented data in key value pairs. Okay, so we say that the data is in, let's say, name value pair. They are separated by commas. So each value is separated by comma. Curly braces hold objects. Curly braces hold objects, and square brackets hold arrays. Okay, why it is called as JavaScript object notation? Because the format in which we write the data here is similar to the format that the objects follow, okay, that we have seen when we wrote an object. Okay, now when we write a data in JSON, data is in name value pairs. It is written in the format of name and then value. It is every data is separated by commas, curly braces hold objects, and square bracket hold arrays. For example, so if I want to write something, I'll say name. Okay, so I'll say name, and the name is, let's say, John, right? Comma, age. Okay, let's say 34, comma. Now, let's say I want to write some values that consist of arrays. Okay, so for example, let's say I want to say that John, who is 34 years of age, knows the programming languages. Okay, and I want to write all those programming language that the John knows. So I'm gonna put it in an array. So because John knew multiple programming languages, so C++, then comma, let's say Java, and let's say Python. Okay, so this is how you create a, or you write a data in a JSON format. Okay, so this is the name or key, and this is the value. Okay, this is similar to something that you would have dealt with when you study dictionaries. So in dictionaries also we write this kind of notations, right? The key value pair, similar to that over here. Okay, not exactly same, but similar to that. Okay, now here, and this is an object. This is an object in which one of the name contains an array, right? Similarly, an object can contain object inside, and a value can contain an array inside as well. Okay, now we say that JSON is language independent. Okay, JSON is language independent. What that mean is, um, like, code for reading and generating JSON exists in many programming languages. Okay, so it exists in Python as well, and therein also you follow the same format. Okay, and you use it. Similar kind of concept exists in XML as well. Okay, but compared to XML, JSON is faster. Okay, and JSON also consists of less line of code. Okay, for example, if let's say I have to create and employee information. Okay, so if I would write it in XML, I would write it as emp info. Okay, and then I'll put something like this, that employees, and then my, let's say one employee is this one, whose name is, let's say James Kirk. Okay, and let's say the age of the employee is 40. Okay, this is one employee. Similarly, we'll have another employee. So now I'll write another employee here. His name is, let's say, the name of the employee is Tia Fern. Okay, and the age of the employee is, let's say, 30 years of old. Okay, similarly, if I want to create one more employee, it would look something like this in XML. Okay, let's say James, Tia, and let's say Mila. Okay, and the age, let's say 37. Okay, so this is how you would write a code of creating employees name and age in XML format. But if you'll write it in a JSON format, okay, see how would it look like. So in JSON format, first I'll create my employee info, and so this one. And so this is my employee info object, and so employees, and then I have my first employee whose name is James. So name is James Kirk. Okay, and the age is 40. Okay, so this is my first employee. Second employee would be what I've written over there, that his name is Tia, right? And age is 30. So this is my second uh, employee, and let's say the third employee, and what I've written as Mila Fern. Okay, and Tia was also the same last name. Okay, and comma, age is 37. Okay, so if you'll see here, first of all, it is easy to write. It is more readable. Okay. And second, JSON is the recent, latest format. XML is the older one. And also, JSON is said to be faster than XML. So JSON is faster in terms of data parsing. It is cleaner than XML. It is lightweight than XML, and it is easy to read and write. So if you see XML, it's difficult to just, difficult to say how many employees are there, let's say in this example. Okay, but if you'll see here, you see the format is so clear and so readable that you can say that there are 3 employees in over here, right? So that is why we say that it is easy to read and write. It's faster in terms of parsing and cleaner than XML. Okay, so that is comparison between a JSON and an XML. And again, as I say, JSON is it's a platform independent or a language independent model. And if you'll notice here, when I wrote JSON, herein the properties are enclosed in double quotes. Okay, that is also one of the differentiator of JSON. Okay, let's understand it through an example. Okay, so again, when you create a JSON file, you generally store it with with .json extension. Okay, so file extension in JSON is here, and I'll just write it here. File extension in JSON is .json. Okay, so and everything is in double quote except the numerical values. Okay, so whenever we write anything in JSON, we put it inside double quotes. Okay, so let's create a JSON file here. I'm just going to create it inside an HTML just to show you, but generally it is being stored separately with a .json extension. Okay, so here in, and herein I'm gonna create a JSON file. So I'm gonna put it inside the script. Okay, so I'm gonna say, let's say name is John. So this is, name is John. Okay, and something is wrong. Yeah, I missed this one. Okay, let me write it one more time. Okay, so name, let's say John. Okay, and age is 25. So name John. And because I created an object, I'll say let data equals to. Okay. And name John, and let's say age is 25. Let's say is student, and I'm gonna say true. Okay, so I'm writing the data of a student, okay? And let's say I want to ask passport number. I'm gonna put it as null. Then again, I'll use programming languages known. So I'm gonna say programming language, and I'm gonna put it inside an array, okay? So let's say C, okay. So C++, let's say Java, again Python, okay? And again, comma, and herein, so now I'm gonna put an object inside an object, okay? So I'm gonna create an object here, and herein, city, excuse me, let's say Gilroy, and state, California. So except it is an integer value or a Boolean value or a null, you are going to put everything inside the double quotes, okay? So state California, and that's, okay, let's put the zip code, okay? And zip code, I'll say 0101, something like this, okay? Okay, so I created a JSON file here, okay? And then now I want to, so if you want to, so this is a JSON object, and if you want to retrieve this data, you will have to parse that data, okay? So data received from server will be parsed in object. It will be converted into a JavaScript object. How do you convert it into JavaScript object? By saying JSON.parse. Okay, so what does a JSON.parse do? JSON.parse will convert it into a JavaScript object. Okay, and that's how the server works. Okay, we are going to see the details into it later, but let's just see how to parse the information that is being passed from a JSON object. Okay, and I'm going to get an error. Octal literals are not allowed. Oh, okay. So it is taking it as an octal literal. So I'm just going to do some value here. Okay. And it's still giving me an error. Leading zeros are not allowed. Okay. 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 So this is how it would look like. And let's see. Parsing it into an object. Okay. So how do we do that? I'll just create, let's say, an object. Let's say D object. You can use any variable here, and the way you do it is JSON.parse. Okay, and what do you parse? You have to parse this object, right? This data. So I put that argument inside it. And then let's see how to fetch this data. Okay, so if you have to fetch that data, the way it would work is I'm just gonna show you how you can by printing. Okay, so now it is an object converted into an array kind of structure. So this property, if you want to retrieve this property, it has been come inside this, and then the way you can retrieve it is in the form of an array terminologies. Okay, so basically, what is this parse JSON.parse thing do? It creates a JavaScript object from a string containing JSON. Okay, it is a built-in JSON object, one of the two built-in JSON object. Okay, and what does it do again? JSON.parse method creates a JavaScript object from a string containing JSON. Okay, and the way you retrieve it is you can write down the variable in which you have parsed it and retrieve it using an array kind of notation. Okay, let's see. So I retrieved this value name. Okay, now if I want to retrieve the age, okay, I would say here age. Okay, then you have a programming language, right? Now if you'll see, the programming language is an array kind of structure. It's already an array. So I'm gonna do here and I'm gonna pass this P language first. Okay, and if you'll say P language at index, so this is 1, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, right? So you have to provide an index here. So what I would do is console.log. I'm trying to print these values. Okay, so D object, and so P language. Okay, and at index 1. Okay, let's see what does it print. Okay, and similarly herein what I'm trying to do is, this is an object which has these values, right? So there is an object inside an object. So to retrieve those values, we'll use what we have learned in objects. Okay, so herein again I'm gonna use this D object and this value that I've written over there, the object name, and if I want to retrieve this value, okay, so I'm gonna say zip. Okay, and let's see what happens if I'll only, okay, if I'll just print the address. Okay, so I'm gonna take this individual value inside an object, you can retrieve it like this, and if I just want to print an address, okay, let's see how does that work. So I'm gonna run this and open the console, and it is saying an error. Okay, at line number 34, object is not valid JSON. I would have written something wrong. Okay, at line number 34, which is over here, which says console.log D object. Okay, 34 JSON.parse data, right? And okay, okay, so when you create this, this has to be in the template literal. Okay, let's see. Okay, inspect. Okay, it is printing, but it is saying some error over here. At line number 39. Array it has printed C, C++, Java. So if we'll just keep it like that, okay. So this one, when I was trying to just print only this, it has printed it in the form of an array. Okay, and here on it is showing an error because I did not put this programming language inside the quotes. Okay, now let's see. So I'm gonna go again and see everything that I wanted to print is being printed over here, right? So first one was to retrieve the name, which is John. Age is whatever was the age. This one is printing the whole array. If you want to just print the first value, okay, the array index always starts from 0. So 0 it is this one C, and the first one is CPP. So it is printing a CPP here. Okay, then it is printing the zip, and when you just print an object, uh, this object that is address over here, it is printing it as an object like state, city, and zip. Okay, so that's how it works. So if you want to um, parse it in an object, like if you want to convert it into a JavaScript object, you use JSON dot parse. Okay, similarly, okay. If you want to send data to the server, okay, so you have an object, you want to convert it into a string or an array and send it to the server, what you do is you use json.stringify. Json.parse is one built-in function. Another function is json.stringify. So for example, I have this data over here, okay, and what I want to do is I will convert this into a string or an array. Let's see. Okay. So herein, I'm gonna say let that student equals to JSON dot stringify, and I'll convert this data into this, and let's see what happens if I try to print it. Okay. So I'm gonna hide this for now. Uh-oh. Okay. And let's see. Let's run this and check. Okay. And see how it is displaying all the things. Okay. Um, let's take a simpler example rather than this one. Okay. So I'm gonna show you one more example here for stringify. And again, what is a stringify says? Stringify method creates a string from a JavaScript object. So what does it do? JSON dot stringify. Okay, and what does it do? It creates a string from a JavaScript object. Okay, typically it is used with data sent to a server. Okay, and it creates a string representation of any passed object by either calling the object to JSON method if defined or the string. So let's see, let's understand it with a simple example. Okay, okay. So here on what I'm gonna do is, let's say I'll create let um, let's say student equals to, and because I've used a student here, I'm gonna say it as JData. Okay, and herein, okay, let me just write it first. Okay, so let student equals to, and let's create this object name. No, it's an object, right? So name is John, comma, let's say age 25, and city is, let's say Santa Clara. Excuse me. Okay. Now, what does it says? It says it creates a string from a JavaScript object. So this is a JavaScript object. The earlier, the one that I passed was not a JavaScript object. It was a JSON object, right? So this one is a JavaScript object. And herein, I'll say let JData equals to JSON dot stringify, and it converts it into a string, right? Student. And let's do console.log. And I'm gonna say JData. Okay, let's run this and check. So I'm gonna, or let's do this. Okay, let's go here and see here how it has converted it over here into a string, right? Okay, or a JSON object. So this is how the JSON work. Practical application of JSON. We are gonna see how we use JSON object. But before that, make sure that you understand what is JSON and how to represent the values in JSON terminologies. Okay, so I hope you have understood whatever I have taught in here. Um, Feel free to again ask questions and email me if you have any doubt. I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching and happy coding.